So after episode 11, I was like, I don't really have a lot to say. I'll couple it with episode 12. It's clearly a two-parter anyhow. That'll be for the best. And then that happened, and I'm like, maybe I'm gonna just wait till episode 13, and then, I'll put that as like a bundle, and that'll give me enough to. And for a while there, I was just thinking about waiting until episode 14. Like, it's getting dire. This time, and last time, and the time before that on Dragon Ball Daima. It's a 2x Tamagami takedown when the surly Saiyan Prince and a newly minted Majin battle for the balls. After pummeling its protectors, both obtain their orb, but shortly after, our ornery octet plummets to a planet of colossal creatures. I'm really starting to struggle at this point. Like the whole alliteration bit is getting harder as I go along. Also, finding things to talk about with Dragon Ball Daima is getting harder as I go along. And I really need to just preface this before going any further and say, I am enjoying Daima. This is not like, oh, Daima's bad and I just have nothing worth like praising about it or anything. No, like it has been good. Unfortunately, it has been good in ways that do not lead to particularly interesting conversation, in my opinion, or that give me like unique things to say. Like, I'm honestly kind of struggling at this point, and it's something I didn't expect to be an issue. I figured with this new world and this like environment and this kind of quest that our characters are going on, it would give me fresh things week to week to week to talk about. And here, the freshness has run out. It is starting to get stale. Like, it's still edible. It's still actually surprisingly pretty good for what it is. Kind of like, like a flat Pepsi, where you're just like, it's still Pepsi. But when it comes to new and engaging things to discuss, they are becoming few and far between. Like when it comes to episode 11, like, what do we got? Piccolo doesn't remember how to speak Namekian, even though he did at the 23rd tournament. Honestly, this is like a plot hole that I didn't even like. I don't know what hell I did quotation. It is a plot hole. It doesn't really make sense, but it's one I didn't even notice. I didn't even think about it at the time until I saw other people talking about it. Because I was more like fixated on the fact that I'm like, okay, so Piccolo, the Namekian who no longer remembers his original name, remembers his father's name as Katats. Okay, whatever. I mean, there was that. There's like a little toss away line from Neva about how like Namekians are valued, like they're kind of like low class citizens, but they have value because of their ability to create Dragon Balls. Like that was a fascinating thing that will probably never actually be explored in any kind of meaningful way. We have Arince making a Majin, a thing we've already seen her do once already. This one, I don't even think is as interesting as the last one. I ended up really liking Majin Ku, and now Majin Du, he's fine. Like, I don't think he's a bad character. He's fun. As opposed to like Majin Buu being kind of like this child that just didn't know better. Like Majin Du is more like a child who's who's been really spoiled by his parents, and like he's just like, no, I don't want to fight unless I get chocolate, and like throws like a temper tantrum. And like that is like a bit of a fun dynamic. I do like Majin Ku more in these situations because he's just like, oh, I've always wanted like a brother. That's so cool. And we see him during like after like the fight, and he has to like do the kind of intellectual part of the Tamagami challenge, It's Ku who's like, that was like where he excelled and he got to like slip do the answer. And like that was really fun. But as far as like episode 11 goes, Neva has now teamed up with our heroes and they go to challenge it to Tamagami. Our Aints makes a new Majin. She goes to re-challenge Tamagami 1. And then it, leads into like it's basically a two-part fight. I would say the thing that makes this interesting at all, as far as like, discussion-wise, is how it is framed, like jumping back and forth between the two fights, kind of paralleling one another. That I thought was really neat. But it's just that. It is a neat parallel. It's not like it has any kind of meaningful like substance to it. It's just like, oh cool, like, it's like poetry, it rhymes. And unfortunately, like episode 12, the first half of it kind of looks like shit. Like, I mean, it looks like shit by like Daima standards, where like everything is still incredibly on model. The post-processing looks gorgeous as always, but the animation itself is like really stiff, and the posing and just everything feels really weightless, and it really was like bringing me back to like early Super, where just like all the fights felt like or multiple fights would just feel like there was no impact or weight to the action sequences. And that's what I was really feeling in this like fight in episode 12, until clearly, like, they switched out animators for like the big dope moment with Vegeta going Super Saiyan 3. Do beats, Tamagami 1. Vegeta goes Super Saiyan 3, beats Tamagami 2. And then they do like the intellectual parts of the Tamagami challenge. I already said Ku gives Do the answer. I do love how Vegeta, like he's given like kind of like a math problem, and he's just like, shit, because he's a punchy guy. He's not a math guy. What the fuck? And Bulma's just like, oh my god, and Vegeta just completely saying fuck it, treats it like a riddle instead of a math problem, and goes, it's a trick, like it would be 0 because of this. And I forgot the actual like question, but like, yeah, and everyone is like, Bulma's, oh no, and Tamagami 2 is just, you're correct, it was a trick question. And God, I do love that, because one, it's like a fun use of your Vegeta, which I'm always down for. And then also, like, the things with the Tamagami, yes, there's like a bit of a trick to what they're doing. In fact, I would say the most straightforward of the Tamagami was the Tamagami 1 challenge, even though it feels like it's the most insanely difficult. It is like, it is what it seems like on its face. Where with Tamagami 3, he tosses the ball out, and that's part of the thing, is to catch him doing that. He wants you to catch him doing that sleight of hand. And with Tamagami 2, like, he wants you to pick up on, the wordplay, and that it is in fact a trick question. So yeah, like I'm enjoying that aspect of these characters, like the Tamagami themselves. Like, they could have been really, really boring and lame and just a thing for our characters to throw a punch at, but they've been giving them a nice bit of personality so far. I say so far as if there's going to be more of them. That was it. That was the 3 of them. There are the 3 Tamagami. Unless Neva just decides to make a 4th one for shits and giggles. That is all of them. And they have been surprisingly fun. One thing I did want to bring up, though, is this series feels like it is specifically designed to like get under the skin of Vegeta fans who take the character way too seriously. Specifically, like, I mean, first off, he's absent for like the first half of this series. Like, he has been sidelined waiting for like his Uber to pick him up and take him to the demon world. Then when he like gets there, this pudgy little catfish man is talking down to him, just giving him shit, and then trying to fuck his wife. And now, like, Vegeta's big standout moment in this arc is his reveal of being Super Saiyan 3, a thing that Vegeta fans have wanted canonized for so long. And one, he has the dumbest fucking hairstyle I have seen. Oh my god. Like it was just like Toriyama's just like, oh man, people thought Beast looked really dumb. And then like Toriyama looking at himself and going, "Hold my beer," and is making an even dumber fucking hairstyle. And also, it's Super Saiyan 3 on like Kid Vegeta. Like you just look at him, look at him. It's just and it's like spiked straight up, and it looks so goddamn dumb. Like, if I have one thing to say about the Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 thing is that in the context now of, like, the rest of modern Dragon Ball that we have, given its timeline placement, I really don't like this being set so far back now. Because, okay, so Vegeta's had Super Saiyan 3, I guess, the entirety that Super has been going. In the entirety of modern Dragon Ball. Which is fine for the most part, because he's had Blue. He hasn't really needed anything beyond that. Or anything prior to it, I should say. But, like, in Battle of Gods, like, because one of the things I always felt like in Battle of Gods, if he was ever going to get that transformation, it should have been in Battle of Gods. It should have been, like, part of the My Bulma moment. So now you have, like, the My Bulma, and Vegeta somehow surpasses Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 3 Goku while in his maybe Super Saiyan 2 form. Why didn't he just go 3 if he was that powerful? Shit. Like, it's just so dumb to introduce it now. Like, you had your opportunity with Battle of Gods. That was the moment to do it. That was your moment. Here now it's just like, oh, well, he got it just off screen. Just between the Majin Buu arc finale and this point, he has gotten Super Saiyan 3 in that, like, 2-year time gap, and it just bugs me. It bugs me. So yeah, obviously I don't have a whole lot to say about those episodes. They're good, fun action episodes. They're fine for what they are. Then episode 13 rolls around, and it's just a filler episode. It's a very fun, cute, gorgeous looking filler episode. Like, honestly, like, even by Daima standards, episode 13 is fucking immaculate, visually speaking. But it is just another sidetrack episode. Their ship crashes, they land on this planet. Once again, just stealing GT's homework because it is like a planet of giants. It's like, why are you just always copying stuff from GT at this point? Like, why not like if you're gonna copy something, like go pull some inspiration from like One Piece. Like, how many fucking like weird islands are there in One Piece that you could like kind of pull some inspiration from? Like, no, like we have like episode 3 that is just structured entirely like episode 3 of GT, and now this one is just like they landed on a planet of giant things. Like, this episode is just entirely fluff filler, with the exception of one little scene that makes it just valuable enough to where I can't say that you can just skip it 100%. And that is the deactivation of Warp Sama. And okay. Like, when they first did that, like, when that first order was given, I was just like, "Oh, okay, I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen." And I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal, but, like, the look on Dagus's face when he is told that, and then him having to, like, go to, like, the switch to flip it, and his apprehension about it, it's like he was just, like, given a shotgun and told to take Warp Sama behind a barn, just, sorry, old Warp Sama." It's just okay. That was weirdly dark, and it feels grim too. Like, you see, like, Warp Sama just kind of floating, and then his eyes kind of white out, and he just, like, powers down. And kudos to the animation team, to the directors on this show, for not undercutting the drama of the scene by having Warp Sama, like, turn upside down like a dead goldfish, because I was kind of expecting that, and they didn't do it. So kudos to them for, like, sticking to the emotional weight of that moment, even though I don't really quite understand why it was that emotionally weighty. So yeah, that is it. That is all I had to say about these 3 episodes. Like, the show is consistently pretty good. Even when it's just a fluffy filler episode, it's cute, it's entertaining, I have a good time watching it. But, like, what the hell am I to talk about? Like, even in this case of, like, the fight with the Tamagami and the whole new Majin Do and everything, it's just, okay, Majin Do was created, and then, like, it's just them, like, going to fight, and we don't know what the ramifications of that is. In fact, like, the villain's actions are not even known to the hero, so I can't even talk about, like, how our heroes reacted to it, or how that changes, like, the dynamic, because we've already known that Arin's has been doing shady shit in the background, and that Gloria works for her, and that this is all going to come to a head eventually. But as of right now, like, it's just, things that are happening that will eventually pay off in the future. God, I hope so. And then, like, when the show needs to, like, spin its wheels, it keeps falling back on, like, the same handful of tricks. Like, once again, their ship was damaged, it crashed, and Pansy has to fix it. Like, how many times has their ship just eaten shit? Like, 4? This is the 4th time, I think? Yeah, so I am really kind of starting to tire of Daima's routine. This should not have been as long as it is. This probably should have been 13 episodes, which I'm sure a lot of people would have, like, pissed and moaned about it being short, but at least it would have told a tight, concise story, as opposed to just fucking about and wasting our time. Because even when Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball had to have filler, it would at least, like, take our characters and put them in unique situations. Say what you want about Bulma fighting a crab on planet Namek. That was a situation I have never seen that character in, and it was giving a character that had not done anything really meaningful in a while to, like, give her own little side adventure. So, like, it was still entertaining. This is just kind of doing the same things. Like, this, it's like, oh, we're gonna crash here, and we're gonna have our ship stolen then, and then it's just all the time. And I can't even say, like, this episode is, like, that unique, because once again, this is like an episode pulled straight out of GT. When I reviewed Dragon Ball Super, I had a similar issue where I just started running out of things to say, where I was just like, yeah, Super is bad in the exact same ways every single time, and there's only so much I can say about it. Like, I got tired of just trashing on Super. In fact, the only reason I even came back to review the Tournament of Power is because so many people in this fandom fucking lied to me and said Super was good now. Oh, it's so much better. It got its shit together. You fucking gaslighting fucks. You lied to me. Like, oh, Super so much better now. It's good. You need to come back and review it. You gaslighting fucks. And even then, like, I didn't even go back to my old reviewing style of kind of just talking about each episode at a time. I was doing 3-episode chunks, and I was doing them like conversationally with my friend Agro. And yes, people have asked me about Agro. Is he ever going to come back for these videos? No. He and I live in different states now. Like, before we were roommates, so that made like making videos really easily. I'm sorry. I know he was like a fan favorite. Like, I loved like, the banter and stuff also. But also, like, one, I feel he will never trust me again to like bring him into like watching Dragon Ball. I got him to watch the Broly movie and Superhero, and I feel like asking him to watch like another Dragon Ball series. I really feel like that's gonna strain our friendship. Anyhow, like, I'm hoping the closer we get to a finale, you know, when all of these things start coalescing and build, because I still don't know what this ending is gonna remotely look like. We have so many pieces on the board and so many various configurations that they could take for the finale of this show. And I have no clue where it's going to land. So, fingers crossed, this show will pick up its pace. This last episode left me not very hopeful of that, but we will see. See you the next time I have things to say about Daima. Which, dear God, please let the next episode be entertaining enough that I can talk about it. At this point, like, I'm just hoping that, like, the series is gonna pick things up. The closer we get to a finale, the sooner things start coalescing, and all of these, like, we have all these pieces on the board, all these characters doing things, but there's no intersection. Like, even like the filler of the Pilaf arc had Pilaf, like, knew to have Pilaf like interacting and fucking with our heroes. Here, it's just Arince is off doing her sneaky shit, and Goma and Degas are watching the Majin Buu arc's greatest hits, and our heroes are, just going on an adventure, going on a field trip through the demon world. We'll eventually hit our villains, and it's just like, I want something to happen. I feel like, like on rewatch, this is going to be worse because between the exposition dumps and just all of the fluff, it's gonna get tiresome. So I am not sure what my overall feelings on Daima are gonna be by the end of it, which is really disappointing because I really wanted to love this show. Like, seeing the trailer, seeing like, oh, we have like, everyone's kids. We're gonna go to this new, other dimension. Like, literally a world of demons, and we're gonna go like on an adventure, and like, that sounded so great. I was so hyped up. This is exactly like the kind of thing I wanted from Dragon Ball. The same thing happened to me with Superhero. Like, I saw what Superhero was cooking, and I'm like, oh my god, this is exactly what I want. And I loved Superhero, so I went into this, and I just feel like Toei is doing this story dirty. I feel like if you cut out, like, probably like 10 episodes worth of shit from this story by the end of it, you would have like a really good story. You would have like a really good little self-contained Dragon Ball story. But we don't. We have this. Maybe one day some fan will come along and edit it down in like a fan-made edit. We need like a word for that. Till next time, guys, Xeon out.